Hey everyone. Today I'm going to talk about there are many freelance sites, but then you've got to kind of choose between them, or you need to be kind of sure that which one of them is actually good enough. So today I'm going to talk about my experiences with different freelance sites, and I'll tell you what really clicks for me at least. First of all, if you aren't aware, there are a lot of these websites where you specialize as a freelancer, and there's a lot of work which you can deliver remotely. So it doesn't matter where you're physically located. You could be in any part of the world as long as you're connected to the internet. You can easily deliver work which clients require. So, for example, if say I'm in India and there's a client in the US and he wants an article written, he can always get in touch with me through these freelance websites, and I deliver the work there, and then he pays me on those sites. So that's how it works. And then there are hundreds and thousands of people who are actually working this way today, and definitely that is probably that figure is likely to go up. Now, as far as the sites themselves are concerned, the sites that I have worked with are freelancer.com, which used to be getafreelancer.com when I first started and when I used to work on that. I've also worked on a site called odesk.com, and the site which I work presently is called elance.com. Now, my experience when I first started off on getafreelancer.com was quite positive, because that was my first time I was doing a job and I was looking at avenues by which I could augment my present income at that time. I started with Get a Freelancer, I built up a profile, I got a new project pretty soon, within a couple of days, after which I'd registered and I'd made my profile and put in all my information. And experience was pretty positive, and especially since I was doing a job there, it was at that stage it was more like augmenting my income, adding to my income, not depending on income entirely, that okay, money has to come from there only. It's an also situation, not an only one. It was good. And since it was my first introduction, I saw that whatever I'm earning, since I'm earning in, at that time I was used to earning in local currency only. So even if I got say a extra say 100 $200 a month, and the first month I remember I made more than that. I must have made close to about $500. So I was pretty delighted that here I am, I'm getting my salary, which was at that time about 50,000 in local currency, and I got another say 25,000 through this website. So I was really happy. And I continued working on Get a Freelancer for about close to a year. And that's when I looked up other sites. I discovered Elance. I took up membership. I registered there. I was in fact even paying my monthly membership fee on Elance. Elance is a site which is slightly different. There's, you kind of pay to bid. You have something called connects over there, and it's relatively more expensive. And like free getafreelancer.com, at that time there was nothing like you had to pay separately for each bid. You could place a lot of bids, there was no problem with that. And you had a concept called gold membership, which made sure that you paid sort of less commission on each project. You in fact didn't pay at all, because there was a $12 monthly fee which was just taken from you. Now I believe the policies have changed slightly. I'm not active on freelancer.com, so I'm not very aware of that. But whatever it is, since I worked there on getafreelancer.com for a significant amount of time, I would say that the work was not bad. Now, after working on Elance, now when I reflect on Get a Freelancer, the money was relatively, small, and there were a lot of these, so-called clients on getafreelancer.com who were actually, subcontracting work. They would pick up work on sites like Elance, where they would pick up projects for a slightly higher pay, and then they would subcontract that work to contractors on other sites like Get a Freelancer, now freelancer.com, and they would make that margin in between. So therefore I gradually kind of elevated myself to Elance, and presently Elance is where I primarily work. And let me tell you that the experience is, pretty positive, and there's umpteen work and work which pays reasonably well. And therefore, if you are looking at a suitable site for which we would like on which you would like to establish yourself as a freelancer, where you know that you have, say, writing skills or designing skills. Obviously you can't toss a burger and serve it online. There are certain limitations to delivering work online, but then there's so much of work today which we do in offices, which can actually be delivered remotely as well at a much lower cost. And in that regard, Odesk is a site which I would again say that I worked briefly there, but mixed experiences, because again the same problems, that low pay, especially because Odesk was a site which I had to kind of work on out of compulsion, not out of choice, because one of my clients on freelancer.com was more keen that we work on Odesk. So I said fine, and let's do it there. But what, I didn't focus much on picking up jobs there, but I would browse the site extensively and see what was there on offer, what's the kind of pay. My overall observation was that a lot of providers, contractors, whatever you want to call them, freelancers, but very very low pay, and that's not something which is desirable. And whereas on Elance the pay was relatively better, and pay the pay was, like I said, pay was relatively better, and also the overall work environment and quality of clients, quality of projects, quality of work which was being put up on Elance was also much better. So when I try and sum up everything, the conclusion that I draw is that when it comes to quality of work, and most importantly quality of pay, from a contractor's perspective, freelancer's perspective, you need to be paid well enough. That's what you're there for. Whatever else you might have in mind, ultimately you're there so that either you're making a full-time income, or at least you're supplementing your current income. From that point of view, I really would recommend Elance. I think Elance scores over the others. There are certain other sites, Renter Coder, which is called WeWorker now, and there are some wannabe sites. And the very fact that I don't even recall those sites tells you enough that probably those sites aren't really worth anything, because there isn't work there. That's the most important thing. Any freelance platform can work only if there's adequate work, projects which are posted there. So there are a lot of these other wannabe sites which have very few projects, and there'll be probably a few providers or contractors who've registered there. They're just chasing those same jobs, and when nothing comes out of it, they also become inactive. So therefore, from that point of view, I really would recommend Elance, all the way, all the way. Other than, there's one site which is local to where I belong, which is India. It used to be called Agency FAQS, Agency Facts, and now it's called afacts.com, and they have a section for freelancing. They call it Freelance Exchange. I've actually worked there. I've picked up projects for essentially local clients, local Indian clients, and it's not true that the pay is very low or something, because as you might be aware, not today in India, pay is not bad across many different fields, and therefore I've actually picked up reasonably good quality work there with decent pay, if not excellent or amazing pay, but decent pay. So that's another site which I would recommend. You can check it out. They have a, like I said, Freelance Exchange, which you can check out, and you can take a look. uh, all in all, in summation, I really would say that from the point of view of quality of work, quality of contractors, Elance definitely scores. So whether you're a client who's looking for contractors, or you're a contractor who's looking for work, I really would say that Elance is where you should focus your efforts on. Cheers.